I can't believe it's so good for me to make this video because I don't realize how wild and just transformative our last 4 years have been. 2025 is crazy. So 4 years ago, I could not have told you what our net worth is. I was having a financial panic attack, let's say, this time 4 years ago, which is crazy to say. Because now I can tell you exactly what our net worth is down to the penny. I keep it pinned on my home screen. We update it every single month. And next year, our big goal is to hit $100,000 of net worth. This video, I'm going to be talking about what changed from 2022 to now. And I have it tracked on a spreadsheet. So I can show you exactly how our net worth has changed over the years. And I'm going to show the numbers on the screen while I talk about what happened. 2022 was the year we stopped avoiding our finances. We don't have any of the data back then about how much we were actually in debt or what our net worth was, but it wasn't good. In 2023, our finances and our relationship really took a turn, and I don't think these things could have happened independently. So I began to trust him, know that he's trustworthy is the main thing. Know that our relationship was solid and our finances came together. We also moved in together. We'd been living with roommates our entire relationship, and we finally got our first solo apartment, just me and him. And same month, I also got pregnant. So we're rolling with things. We had 6 years of just like dating and being pretty casual, like life-wise with each other. And then it all happened at once. So we combined our finances, we combined our income, we chose to tackle everything as a team. We began to snowball our debts together and then eventually avalanche once we got like that confidence to know that we are going to pay off this debt. And we needed to do that one independently with the smallest balances first, but then we could tackle, like I'll show you on this spreadsheet, our Alaska credit card. It was $8,000 and that seemed insurmountable until we started doing it together. And then we watched the debt finally disappear and we started getting really motivated to seeing our progress every single month. All right, so the 2023 spreadsheet is right here. We started out in negative $59,000 as our net worth, and then went to negative $30,000 as our net worth, which is $28,000 of progress in the positive direction, which is enormous. And like I said, we were working together this year, starting in about April, and it wasn't a totally linear increase. We definitely had some ups and downs throughout the year. Major life things happening here. As you can see, I didn't have a lot of savings. It was Brad's retirement that was really carrying our assets, and a lot of my debt, including my student loan and my car, in the negative column. So you'll see this Alaska credit card, Capital One and Chase. We tackled those together and paid off those credit cards that year, and that was huge for us. That Alaska credit card was a bear, and we were so proud to pay that off. We literally had the thermometer that we would like color in on the refrigerator every time we'd get an extra $500 or $30 or $1,000 towards that card. And that was really, really cool. Another big thing that happened this year was I actually stopped working all 3 of those jobs and stayed home and just sold all of our stuff on Facebook Marketplace. I sold our plants, I sold the bed, I would have sold literally everything that I could have. And I sold my car as well. So paid off that car loan because I was able to get all of what it was worth. And we ended up moving to Florida in November this year. So really, really big year for us financially. Super proud looking back on this year. So 2024 was a big year. We ended up back in Florida. We were paying very little in rent because we were living at a family's house, but it needed a lot of work. So we were at Home Depot buying things to make sure that the floor didn't leak water. It didn't have a washer and dryer, so we bought one. There were big expenses that came up for us this year. And importantly enough, we were just using our savings because Brad was working odds and ends jobs, but neither of us had a 9-to-5 for like the first 4 months of 2024. The important thing to note here is we started out with a net worth of negative $33,000, went to negative roughly $21,000, and we made $13,000 of progress in 2024, which is not a ton. But like I said, we didn't have jobs, and then we had very low paying jobs, and neither of us were working full time for the whole year at all. I think what's so cool about this year though is because it was survival mode, learning how to raise a baby, neither of us knowing what the hell we were doing, we were still so dedicated to paying off our debt and increasing our net worth that somehow nothing got in the way of that. People say kids are really expensive and that first year is really difficult, but still we were able to make positive progress and move in the right direction and still stay focused on our goals of becoming financially independent. Okay, 2025 is the year things went crazy. In January, Brad got a corporate office job, 9 to 5. We bought a house. Our baby turned 1. And I was working overnight in the ER. Yes. Okay, just putting myself there. We got a home loan for the home that we bought to fix it up because there was so much work that needed to be done. Because of that home, it appraised at $350,000 and we bought it for $314,000. That really superficially bolstered our net worth. But again, I'm counting it. And then throughout the year, we took out more money on a 0% interest credit card. You can see that at the bottom, liabilities in April coming on. That was really needed. We needed to get this house livable. We had a baby that couldn't even touch the floors. We actually couldn't move in until March after we bought the house because it needed so much work to be done. And then in July, I got a 9 to 5 corporate job, started going to work. We also started paying for daycare. That was pretty expensive for us. It was over $300 a week. And wow, we still made $41,000 of progress that year, ending the year in $38,000 as our positive net worth. I'm so proud of us for this year. This year is crazy. The biggest things for us for this year, like I said, we have not deviated from the plan. We were a family of 3. I actually got pregnant this year too, so we, in December, became a family of 4. We had childcare costs. We had bigger expenses because we went from $300 rent living with family in 2024 to having a $2,500 mortgage now. We began contributing to retirement, which is huge this year. We still paid off debt, increased it, but then paid it off again. And we're building equity in tangible assets, which is something that we always wanted to do. And there were plenty of setbacks. It was really frustrating. It's not easy living in a live and flip with kids. It's bonkers. It's insane, actually. There's no time to do anything for yourself. But we didn't stop tracking our net worth, and that's something I'm really, really proud of. We just kept making progress, as slow as it was, just in the positive direction. So I've talked recently in another video about 2026, but here's where we are today. Started out at about positive $39,000 and projected to be at about $63,000 net worth by the end of the year. Still in the positive, still making forward momentum, good progress. And I have us looking at $24,000 of good progress this year. We do still have some credit card debt on a 0% interest credit card, which is crazy, but every single month we're contributing to our 401ks. We're getting the matches from our company, which is really awesome. We're working towards growing our emergency fund just to have liquid cash. We know that that's so super important for our family. Things that haven't changed at all, our student loans, we have made no payments towards those. Mine are slowly increasing. Just one of my loans has some interest on it, but the others don't. Neither does Brad's. We have a car loan we're trying to pay off as quickly as possible as well. And that's our snapshot. We are currently in July, but I just put in our June numbers. We're at $48,000 net worth. All I have to say is we're nowhere near done, but compared to where we were when we started, it's really exciting. And it's so cool to see how much momentum and progress we've made towards our net worth. We've increased our net worth $100,000, and Next year, we are planning on hitting $100,000 net worth. They say that your first $100,000 is the most difficult to make, and then after that, compound interest just begins snowballing your money in a positive way. And people who have paid off debt before know when you're paying off debt, you are just throwing your money and it disappears. Whereas if you're investing and saving, you're throwing your money and then it just grows on itself. So it's so much more. Paying off debt feels good, but I think saving and investing just feels so much better because your money isn't just disappearing. The biggest lessons and the biggest takeaways were tracking our net worth changed our behavior more than budgeting did. Tracking our net worth was what over time reinforced our behavior when budgeting felt like a slog to do every day and track our expenses. Also, to move the needle on our assets, the biggest driver clearly that you can see from the spreadsheets wasn't investing, it was paying off debt. Not like you have to be married to work towards financial goals together, but for us, it made us financially stronger because we were finally working towards the same goal and we had the visibility of each other's money. And it's really motivating. Instead of just getting, your 2 or 3 paychecks a month, you're getting 4 or 5 paychecks every single month. So it's really cool. It's a great way to increase your income. Obviously, if you have a good partner. There were months where it felt like nothing was happening and we weren't making any progress towards our net worth growing because we chose to do the floors or paint the living room or, things that didn't necessarily, they weren't needs, but we chose to increase our quality of life. And those months still mattered, but I think less in the grand scheme of things, where we know that our little purchases add up, so we're not spending a ton of money. A big takeaway in the end is that when there are months that we had backwards progress or really little progress, those months still mattered because in the grand scheme of things, consistency is really what kept us moving forward. Just a little reflection. I didn't mean for this to be a hype video, but I'm getting hyped just looking back on this. If you can do anything when you're in the thick of it, tracking your net worth is so, so, so important because it seems when you're in it so slow, but at the end, I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad I can look back and see. And you're gonna get to tomorrow anyways, so you might as well have some motivation of your own receipts of looking back and seeing what you did and what you're capable of. We have learned so much along the way of this debt payoff and net worth increasing journey. So if you're also paying off debt, if you're trying to build wealth, if you're working towards financial independence, or just curious and want to be nosy about what real people are doing with their finances and what their finances look like, then that's what my channel is all about. Like and subscribe if you like it. And I'm planning on sharing our numbers every year, every month, the good and the bad. So come back for more.